Have you ever played a game that makes you question what everyone else is up to, keeps you guessing at what all the other players at the table are about to do, and has you even second guessing what you're about to do because you're so focused on what everyone else might do? Do I have you wondering what I'm about to do? Well, I imagine you saw the thumbnail for this video, or maybe read the title, so you might be expecting an early look at Court of the Dead Dark Harvest. Well, in this case, you're right. This is a sneak peek at that upcoming release from Skybound Games, who helped sponsor this video. I'm only going to give you an overview, but it should give you a sense for just how much players will be messing with each other's heads. If you're not familiar with the world of Court of the Dead, it's a dark universe created by Sideshow Collectibles that's set against the backdrop of an ageless battle between heaven and hell. Death is sort of caught in the middle, along with all of the mortal souls he collects, but he desires a more noble purpose. Along with his allies, he forms the Court of the Dead, in the interest of attaining, if you can imagine this, peace and balance. So the property itself takes the whole notion of what you traditionally think of as good guys and bad guys and twists it around so you really don't know what to expect, which, like I said, is pretty fitting considering what the game does to the players around the table. And this is a completely different game from Court of the Dead Mourner's Call. While that one had elements of outguessing your opponents, Dark Harvest puts that front and center, and in a filler to filler plus type of game experience. Through and through, this game is a bidding game, but it is a devious bidding game that puts a number of variables into play, which is what snowballs into all the mind games at the table. And while those mind games are fierce, the gameplay itself is quite simple. There will be up to 6 rounds over the course of the game, maybe less, and each round consists of 3 phases: the income phase, the court phase, and the harvest phase. Now, you do skip the court phase in the first round, but otherwise it will generally follow this structure. During the income phase, every player will gain 1 influence token, if they have any to regain, and a number of souls depending on player count. In a 4-player game, for example, each player will get 6 souls. Now, your influence and souls are key to the second and third phases, as they are the currencies used for bidding. You'll be bidding on very distinctly different things using distinctly different currencies, but you'll see how they're all very interconnected. And the souls, well, they're also your victory points. And that's where the mind games just begin. In the court phase, players will secretly bid influence for one of 3 different court cards, each from a different faction. There is flesh, spirit, and bone. Each player places a single faction token in their fist along with an amount of influence. Once everyone is ready, they reveal their bids. The winning bid takes the respective court card and resolves its effects. In the case of any ties or no bids, the card is lost and left unresolved. These cards do a variety of different things. Some are quite obvious and happen immediately. For example, Gethsemane here will let you gain back up to 4 influence, which is significant since you only typically get 1 back during income. Dread's Bane simply gives you 6 souls, again, which are victory points too. And the Council is a bit more sophisticated. First, all players must reveal how many souls they have behind their screen, and then the player with the most loses 3 of them. Those are just a few of the court cards. Others will have a slightly delayed effect, impacting the harvest phase in some way. And in addition to the court card itself, the winning bid will also be awarded the faction favor card. This will give the holder an ongoing effect until another player wins that faction in a subsequent round. The harvest is the third and last phase of every round. In it, players will be bidding some amount of the souls they've collected as an offering to the Celestials. Influence means nothing this phase, but remember, the souls that you're bidding are also victory points that you're losing. At the beginning of this phase, a harvest card is revealed, showing the number of souls required to satisfy the Celestials' demands. Each player secretly bids an amount of souls with this shared goal in mind. If successful, the game simply proceeds to the income phase of the next round. But if the players collectively fail, then the person with the lowest bid suffers the penalty at the bottom of the harvest card. Failure also brings a failure token out to the table. Once there's 3 of these, the player with the lowest bid doesn't suffer the penalty on the card, they're just eliminated from the game. The game continues until the final harvest at the end of the 6th round, or sooner if all but one player is eliminated. If it goes the distance though, the winner is the one with the most souls left. But you can win immediately if you're the last one standing. Any blind bidding game is bound to have players really getting into each other's heads, but I think the increased number of options that are up for bid during that court phase really seems to ratchet that up here. Not to mention the fact that it has those 2 separate bidding phases with 2 currencies. That communal goal during the harvest can be interesting too, because depending on the situation, the penalty for being the low bidder on a failure might be something you're willing to live with. Now, I didn't even go into how some of the court and favor cards can impact the harvest, but they can do so in a number of ways. They might let you peek at another player's offering and then change yours. One of the faction favors actually lets you add or subtract 1 soul from your offering after revealing it. All of these things and how the players approach them will really change the game up each time you play. So I'm hoping that all of this at least gives you some idea of the mind games that come into play in Court of the Dead Dark Harvest. It's for 3 to 6 players, takes about a half hour to play, and is going to be available on July 15th at your FLGS, Amazon.com, and probably just about anywhere where you might get your board games. If you have any questions at all, please make them in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching. Now, before you go, there's one more thing I want to talk about. I hate to bring this up, but YouTube analytics tells us to do this, so please click on the subscription button, ring the bell, watch our next video, rinse and repeat. Just keep doing that over and over and over and over.